Sound the alarm! Yo! What in the name of... You sick monster! Rather.
So, if you know about the first movie, then you definitely know about the second one. The Secret of Nimh 2, Timmy To The Rescue, is one of the most infamous direct-to-video sequels ever made. And I had the unfortunate pleasure of watching it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I knew this movie was going to be bad when watching it, but man, it is even worse than I thought it'd be. This is one of those movies that actually kind of hurts to watch, especially if you love the first one. Now, I said in my last video that I didn't grow up to The Secret of Nimh, like I'm sure a lot of you guys did, but with that being said, being someone who grew up watching this and this, I completely understand how you must feel watching something that just completely shits on everything you love.
You'll be happy, nice and happy, if you just say no!
But trust me guys, you don't know, okay? You don't actually know. You might think you know, but you have no idea what pain is. This movie is trash. Just utter trash. And yet, you still don't understand. But you won't until we actually start talking about it. But before we do, we need to address something that I bet most of you don't know about at all. The sequel to the book. That's right, the original book that inspired The Secret of Nimh actually has a sequel of its own called Roscoe and the Rats of Nimh. Now, you're probably wondering to yourselves, wait a minute, so this movie's based on a book too? No way! Well, not exactly. While the sequel is its own original story, I believe this was by accident, but the movie and the book have pretty similar plots to each other. Both the book and the movie focus on Timmy this time around. However, in the book, there is no bullshit prophecy with Nicodemus where Timmy will save Thorn Valley and shit. No. In the book, Timmy is just genuinely curious about Thorn Valley and wants to see what his father helped create. Already sounds a lot more engaging than what we got in this piece of shit. On his journey to Thorn Valley, he ends up meeting up with a rat by the name of Roscoe. Now, who is Roscoe, you may ask? Well, he's Jenner's son. Yes! Yep, Jenner actually has a son in the sequel book. If you remember what I said in the first movie's review, you'll remember how Jenner supposedly died in the first book. He was supposedly killed by electrocution after failing to steal a motor from a hardware store. However, in the sequel, it is revealed that he survived and would later meet another colony of rats and even start a family with them. So, basically, you have the son of Jonathan Frisbee, or Brisbee if you're going by the movie due to copyright concerns with Whammo, who own the term Frisbee, and the son of Jenner, who have to team up in order to stop a dangerous force that threatens the Rats of Nimh. Just from the sound of the premise, it sounds amazingly better than what we have here in this movie. The sequel to the book keeps to the tone of the original, and also deals with mature themes such as redemption, imposter syndrome, growing up, and maybe others. Now, I haven't read the book personally, but from the description of the book, yeah, it makes me want to read the book. Also, some of you are probably wondering, well, why did Don Bluth kill off Jenner when he was clearly supposed to have a bigger role in the story later on? Okay, well, for starters, the sequel wasn't written by Robert C. O'Brien. Matter of fact, he actually passed away in 1973, almost a full decade before the movie would come out in 1982. The sequel would be written by his own daughter, Jane Leslie Conley. Roscoe and the Rats of Nimh wouldn't be released until 1986, 4 years after the movie came out. So you really can't get mad at Don for killing off Jenner because, at the time, that was how the story ended. There was nowhere else for it to go. But the sequel to the film, however, had no such excuse. The Secret of Nimh 2, Timmy To The Rescue, was released in December of 1998, almost 13 years after the sequel to the book came out, and 8 years after the third book came out. Yeah, there's actually a total of 3 books in this franchise, go figure. But despite the similarities to the book, this movie has virtually nothing to do with the books whatsoever. And I think this next part goes without saying, Don had nothing to do with the sequel either. Instead, we have possibly one of the worst of these late 90s to early 2000s directed toilet sequels, but we've delayed enough. I just wanted to bring up Roscoe and the Rats of Nimh so you guys could all know what we should have got as opposed to what we did get. So you all can be just as angry as I am when it comes to what we got. You're welcome. So the movie begins just like that. Yeah, forget an actual establishing shot of any kind, just have the movie fade into existence because that's pretty much what it did anyway. So it turns out that Nimh is still looking for the rats, because I don't know why? So, because of this, and because of the prophecy that Nicodemus said in the past, yada yada yada, that totally happened, Timmy is being forced against his will to go to Thorn Valley. Oh, and Jeremy's back!
I can do it. Just like...
Landing gear down. I did. Ow! 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 I'm hit! Ah! Prepare for a water landing!
Yay! Okay, now to be fair, he's actually not as creepy this time around. But he is a lot more annoying.
The white zone is for the loading and unloading of passengers only. Let's hit the road. Well, when I say road, I mean that highway in the sky, actually. Thorn Valley is, you know, why it's,
Will you shut up, man? Listen, who?
Funny how he won't be the worst thing this movie has to offer.
Mom, I don't want to go.
Yeah, nice lip sync there, by the way. Yeah, maybe Timmy's talent is ventriloquism. It's a genuine talent. But too bad whatever he's into doesn't matter because fuck your individuality. Hey, remember your dad? Your dad who you barely knew? Your dead dad who got eaten by a cat? That dead guy? Be like him.
Let's hit the road. Well, when I say road, I mean that highway in the sky, actually.
I like Dom DeLuise. I really do, but geez, they really just let him do whatever he wanted in the recording booth, didn't they?
Keep it. Someday you'll figure it out.
I'll miss you, Martin.
Timmy.
You're the best big brother ever.
Aw, they had like 2 minutes on screen together. But hey, at least it's more than what fucking Mrs. Brisby gets. Yeah, this is the only time in the movie that she actually does anything. No rewards, no statue, she's never even talked about. Despite her major contribution to the last movie, all that everybody ever does is talk about Jonathan. Jonathan opened a gate, alright? That's all he fucking did. His wife, on the other hand, helped expose a traitor, warned them all about Nimh's approach, and was able to use the stone, which even Nicodemus couldn't do. I think she deserves just a little bit more credit than Jonathan. But whatever, she's a mom. She served her purpose in life by giving birth to the new baby Jesus. I mean Timothy. I mean Jesus. It's made even worse when you think about Martin. The prophecy states that a son of Jonathan will save Thorn Valley, but for whatever reason, it's just not Martin. Yeah, the movie never explains why it's not Martin. It's Tim. Like, ever. You actually feel kind of bad for him. He has every reason to be pissed off, and yet everyone just kind of brushes him off.
Nicodemus wasn't just some old rat, young man. He was the most...
I don't care who he was.
Oh.
I have a destiny too. It's just not fair.
Martin.
Oh, the heck with him. He always was a rude little piglet.
And you're the furry equivalent to a Karen, ain't you, Shrew? So Jeremy takes Timmy to Thorn Valley, where everybody is waiting for the little shitsaya. Oh, and since this is a direct-to-video film made in the 90s, then of course it has to be a musical.
You wanna play
Swing!
Hold your breath and shut your eyes.
And Avatar The Last Airbender thought it was being so original with the shoot system. The Secret of Nimh 2 beat them to it! So while the song is playing, Justin gives Timmy a key. What does this key do? What door does it open? Oh, you'll find out later. Trust me, it is very important. So Timmy's training begins as one day he's destined to...
Everyone keeps saying that, but I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Right now, nobody does, Timmy.
Wait a minute, they don't even know what he's supposed to do? Okay, look, it's one thing to just blindly believe in a prophecy. It's another thing when you have literally no fucking clue what you're even preparing for. Why would Nicodemus be so vague with this prophecy? A son of Jonathan Brisby will save Thorn Valley. When he has 2 fucking sons! Also save Thorn Valley from what? In the book, it was from humans who were building a dam. But in this movie, it's Nimh because for some reason the people at Nimh are still looking for the rats. Yeah, they lost him in the last movie, so you figure they just kind of give up at this point, right?
You know, Timmy, when your father saved the rats of Nimh, he didn't know that was his destiny.
But I'm not my father.
Well, let's let history be the judge of that, shall we?
Now, Timmy, you'll never be the Messiah with that attitude. I mean, just think about what the last Messiah had to do to be like his father. And plus, look at the bright side. You might get to go through worse. So despite proving himself to be rather clumsy, incompetent, and frankly quite stupid, everybody still believes he can become great. However, the one time he does something that's good, he gets yelled at for it.
That old snake won't be hunting us for breakfast anymore.
Well, at least I know what happened to the weather balloon I asked you to get for me.
I was just trying to help make the valley safe.
The valley is safe enough.
Yeah, but what are you thinking, Tim? That you're some amazing messiah or something? Oh, you do, don't you? This is quite problematic. What kind of weird mixed messages are you sending this kid? Save us! Don't save us! Pick a lane, old man!
What have I been trying to teach you all these months?
That it's okay for guys to wear the same underwear 3 days in a row?
Well, that was just between us.
This town is problematic enough as it is, Mr. Aegis. It doesn't need you making it worse! I was already worried about the kid's mental health, but now this? Mr. Aegis, are you sure you're allowed to be his teacher? Are you sure you're allowed near kids? What was in that broth that you made for him all those years ago?
That's disgusting.
And then we might be in real danger.
From who?
From Nimh.
What's Nimh?
Let's hope you never find out.
Oh, so he doesn't even know what Nimh is. So despite building him up as this great messiah, taking him away from his family against his will, all for a prophecy they don't even know about, they haven't even told this kid the story about his father? They expect him to be like his dad, but they don't tell him anything about his dad. No wonder he's having trouble figuring it out. He doesn't know shit. Nicodemus told Mrs. Brisby on the spot what Nimh was, because she deserved to know what happened to her husband and how everyone knew him. Don't you think that his son, the Messiah, deserves to know too?
Jonathan Brisby was a great mouse. And you're his son. You can be every bit as remarkable as he was if you think things through.
This movie glorifies imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a mental state that makes you believe that you're not living up to your full potential because others keep comparing you to something or someone else. It's a genuine struggle that real people struggle with every day, and the only way to really cure it is to, simply put it, to stop trying to be someone you're not. You're not your parents, you're not your siblings, you're not your heroes. You are you, and whoever you are, you've got to believe in yourself that you can accomplish it, whatever it may be.
I see this spark in you. It's amazing. Whatever you choose to do with it, you'll be great.
When do I know I'm Spider-Man?
You won't. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
Like, what's up, danger?
When you take into account that Timmy is constantly being pressured to be like his father, and that being seen as a good thing, honestly kind of makes this movie's message about legacy and stuff honestly kind of sick. In the book, Timmy was conflicted and wanted to learn more about his father, but it seemed like the point of his journey was so that he could find himself. That should have been Timmy's journey, just like it was his mother's journey. In trying to save her son from death, she found within her own heart the courage she never knew she had. She was so timid and quiet, but in her journey, she found her voice, and even wanted to help the rats with their plan when she totally didn't have to. Timmy's journey should have been him moving past his father and finding himself in the journey. I mean, hell, in the book, he teams up with the son of Jenner, the traitor of the rats. Imagine how much more interesting the story would have been. But no, this movie's for kids, so who the fuck cares? They won't care. Just have some phony-ass message about legacy that actually does more harm than good. They won't fucking care. Shut the fuck up, it's a kid's film. But hey, I at least hope that Jonathan was a great singer, because that would mean there is a difference between him and his son, because his son can't sing for shit.
Never live up to the deeds that you did. Why don't I have you to show me the way? You're everyone's hero. I'm only a kid. I never knew you. All that I knew.
Oh, come on, kid. I could probably sing better than that. I'll just have to prove it at a later point. Even as he grows up and the voice changes to that of the Karate Kids, it doesn't get any better.
One day you'll see I will equal your fame. I will show the world I deserve
I love how the music's trying so hard to make it sound epic, but with his voice, it's just not happening. It's honestly the first genuine laugh I got in this movie so far. Speaking of growing up, now is probably a really good time to talk about this film's pacing. It's awful. By now, it feels like the movie could be about a third of the way done, right? Timmy's begun his training, he's supposed to learn about his father and Nimh. That should take at least the first half hour, right? Nope, we're not even 15 minutes in yet. Yes! We just skipped months, hell, maybe even years of his life. I don't even know how mice age in this world, but seriously, this song does not do a good job of aging him. Look at songs like I'll Make a Man Out of You or Son of Man. Those songs do a phenomenal job of having time pass by as the protagonist grows up and gets stronger. But this doesn't show us a damn thing. After the song's over, Justin asks Timmy to join him on a mission, but how should we, the audience, believe that he's ready for that? In Tarzan, when he faces the Jaguar Sabor, you believe that he's ready because we actually saw his growth, how far he had come since he was a child. This feels more like we just fast-forwarded through the good parts. Only there were never any good parts to begin with. The whole movie has weird pacing like this. Conversations feel way shorter than they should. Sometimes they happen at, like, the weirdest times.
What were you two kids doing in the forest anyway?
We were on our way to see my parents.
Jenny, this is Jeremy. He's the one who flew me to Thorn Valley a long time ago.
The fuck?
Even the animation at times can also be pretty wonky. As direct-to-video goes, it's passable overall, but the moments where the lip sync is off, or when the animation is suddenly sped up or slowed down awkwardly, is really hard not to notice. So after growing up, Justin invites Timmy on a mission where they...
Justin, where to tonight?
Where the humans live, to collect things they throw away.
Do the very thing that they left the farm so they wouldn't have to do. Okay, I'm convinced. The people behind this movie did not even watch the original at all, did they? It's a kid's film! Who fucking cares? The rats left the farm so they could become self-sufficient. That was the whole point!
What is the plan?
To live without stealing, of course.
It's wrong to take electricity from the farmer.
My child, we can no longer live as rats. We know too much.
It's the reason why Jenner betrayed the rats in the first place!
You did it. You killed Nicodemus. That was no accident.
Yes, I killed him. He wanted to destroy everything. I've learned this much. Take what you can, when you can.
Then you've learned nothing.
But in this movie, one man's trash is another man's treasure, except they didn't want trash, they wanted to make their own stuff! For fuck's sake, that opening literally went on about how awesome the society was and how it managed to function. But now you're telling me the rats steal from the humans anyway? What was the point of even leaving the farm then if they're just gonna keep fucking doing that? This movie is an utter embarrassment to the original, and I now believe Jenner did nothing wrong. Thank you, Secret of Nimh 2, for making me side with the weakest element of the original film. Thank you for that. So while keeping a lookout while the rats do some stealing, because that's what Jesus would do, he meets another mouse by the name of Jenny, who is voiced by Hayden Welsh of all people. Now, who is Hayden Welsh? She's some, like, small-time voice actress. Had a few decent roles here and there. You probably heard of her. There was Starfire from Teen Titans, Penny from Chalk Zone, Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time. Yeah, nothing that fancy, honestly. I was surprised, however, to hear that this was one of her actual first-ever voice roles. Seriously, I mean, look on the bright side. You can only go up from here. Which she did, so, you know, good for her. Despite this being her first ever voice role, she sounds like one of the very few people in this film who actually gives a shit about her performance. You have her, Eric Idle, who we'll talk about later, and Arthur Mallet, who voiced Mr. Ages in both movies, actually, who sound like they're the only ones actually trying. Everyone else in this film, however, really sounds like they're just phoning it in. Ralph Macchio sounds like he was told he was doing Sesame Street. William H. Macy sounds more out of it than anything out of Shameless. And Dom? Oh, Dom, my boy. They really did tell you to just try your best Robin Williams impression, didn't they? And man, you just really weren't good at it, to be frank. So sorry, man, you deserved better. These are all good actors, but you can tell by their performances they just really didn't care all that much. Either that or the director didn't, but hey, it's Secret of Nimh 2, so hey, what the fuck do you expect, honestly? You expect effort? Fuck no, let's just keep moving on. So because of Timmy screwing around, a dog wakes up and attacks the rats.
you alright?
Ow.
Boy, they sure took their time with those friends, didn't they? Maybe now would be a good time to bring in that kids movie comment. Ginny and Timmy are able to trap the dog, but notice that Ginny can read, which is unusual, so they take her back to Thorn Valley.
Tim, you left your post. You put us all in danger.
But
You've got to learn to listen. You always think you know better than everyone else.
Yeah, Tim, I mean, what do you think? That you're some kind of amazing messiah or something? This feels familiar. So hey, remember in the original when it was said that most of the mice from Nimh ended up dying when they fell down the air shaft? Yeah, remember how dark and mature that was for so much death to be in a kid's film? How awesome was that? Well, fuck that! This is a film that gives children the respect they deserve. So in this movie, they set the record straight by retconning it to where their mice actually didn't die. Yeah, doesn't that make you feel better, kids, after that bummer of a kids movie did all that dark shit? I bet it doesn't! It wasn't just for shock value. There was actually a reason why most of the mice dying was a big deal. Because only Jonathan and Mr. Aegis survived, when you realize that only a mouse can get through the gate in order to open it, makes it all the more insane when you realize just how close the rats were to not escaping at all. Had all of the mice died, then the rats would have never escaped. If all the mice survived, they'd escape, but it wouldn't have been as much of a close call. The Secret of Nimh respected its audience by having a story that wasn't afraid to get dark when it made sense to be dark. I've said this a million times on my channel, but kids can handle dark stories. Themes like death, violence, morality, etc. They can be handled by children of any age if handled properly. When Don Bluth was at his best, he managed to direct some truly great films that weren't afraid to tackle adult themes. And the original book was dark as well. Hell, even its sequel was still dark. So I'll say this for anyone who needs to hear it. If you say it's a kid's film, like that's a defense for the movie being shitty, then it's not a defense. It's just you admitting that you don't give a shit about the movie's quality at all. So maybe don't make kids movies if that's the mentality you're gonna go in with it. Also, The Lost Six? Can we watch that scene with the mice dying again?
The mice were blown away. Sucked down dark air shafts to their deaths.
Yeah, there's way more than 6. Like, there's at least twice that number. Like, at least. So it's revealed that Ginny's parents are 2 of the Lost 6. The 6 mice, who didn't die, actually were recaptured and are now being tested on by a scientist named Dr. Valentine. Because remember in the original when Nimh was just this ambiguous force with no real identity? Well, fuck that! This is a kid's film! There has to be a bad guy to point the finger at. What? Did you want a threat that made you ask questions as to whether or not it was truly good or not? Well, fuck you! Here's a bad guy so clearly in the wrong no matter what! That's smart enough for you dumb fucking kids. Eat the fucking finger! So Ginny came to Thorn Valley hoping for the rats of Nimh would come and save her family. However, they surprisingly refused because...
The council decided that the risk to Thorn Valley was just too great. We can't go.
What does Thorn Valley have to do with the mission? Even if you're captured, then how would that endanger Thorn Valley at all? It's not like you can actually talk to the humans, if you were. Are you guys just saying no right now so there can be a big old gotcha by the end of the movie so you guys can just inexplicably change your minds by the end of the movie? That way you can be there to watch the hero's success and as a result realize you were wrong? I bet that's it, isn't it? So Ginny is actually taken captive by the rats of Nimh because they're just so paranoid, I guess.
Good night, children. Sorry to keep you a prisoner.
But when Timmy asks her about how she knew about the rats, she explains someone at Nimh knew about it. And that's how we find out about Martin being captured by Nimh. Yeah, just a little footnote in the plot that didn't matter until just now all of a sudden.
My mom's letter said he disappeared. She had no idea what happened to him.
He's your brother, asshole! Maybe give a shit? God, this shit just makes me wanna just torture every character in this movie. Oh, I can see it now. Oh, I can see it now.
You'll be happy, nice and happy, perfect happiness.
Amazing. So Timmy and Ginny are able to escape Thorn Valley, but are attacked by a hawk. They're able to escape it, however, and soon run into— oh, good! Yay! I was hoping for more of you, asshole. So it turns out that Jeremy, the great guy he always was, is now pretending to be the Great Owl in order to scam other animals out of their money. Because that's something this totally nice guy would do. No wonder that bitch from the end of the last movie left him. I mean, it took her too long to realize it in my opinion, but hey, better late than never, I guess. Also, there's this caterpillar named Cecil, whose design is so outlandishly cartoonish compared to the other characters that he looks like he was pulled from those old Jumpstart games. Anyway, after a painful and rather pointless song, Jeremy takes the two to Nimh, where they discover that, strangely, all of the humans are now acting like dogs. Huh. Now, why would Valentine do that to people? Well, don't worry, because now everyone can figure it out because Justin and the Rats of Nimh changed their fucking minds! What a twist!
Watch our backs. Not again. Will you listen?
Yeah, just because you're doing the right thing doesn't mean we're gonna keep letting you do the right thing. I mean, who do you think you are, some kind of amazing messiah? Oh my god! So Timmy, understandably pissed off, goes off to find his brother, but because he leaves, he and the rats are captured by none other than Martin himself. That's right, Martin is the villain of the film. It turns out he was captured by Nimh a while back, off screen mind you, and was experimented with until he himself went crazy and took over the lab. Martin is honestly the best part of this film, if I'm being perfectly frank. Eric Idle just sounds like he's having an absolute blast with his role. Also, I like the idea of Martin being the bad guy in the story. I like how Martin felt like he was overlooked because of the prophecy and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, the idea is madly underdeveloped, but it does kind of make sense as an idea. Jonathan did have two sons, so yeah, it is kind of fucked to only focus on one and just leave the other out to rot.
He was the most—
I don't care who he was.
Oh.
I have a destiny too. It's just not fair.
Martin's absolutely right. It's not fair at all. So you kind of understand his anger, plus it does make for good drama. The problem, however, is still the execution. Like I said, Martin's perspective on the situation was never really dove into. And plus, as I said already, Timmy being forced to become like his father is seen as a good thing. When in reality, the film should have started off with Martin getting captured by Nimh, which inspires Timmy to go to Thorn Valley to find the rats. There, he trains with them, all for the purpose of saving his brother, who did the same for him in the beginning of the film. Or at least, that's how this movie would have gone if this movie was made by people who actually gave a shit. So Tim is locked up, and we get, I think, a love song between him and Jenny? Yeah, they had like 2 moments that hinted they liked each other, and now they're singing a song together though, so yeah, they're in love, I guess. Sorry you're not an American Tail sequel. So after the song, Cecil shows up and just spontaneously becomes Timmy's sidekick. Because they clearly built up that dynamic between these two characters. And for the rest of the film, which is less than 10 minutes by the way, they act like they're best friends, and they've been best friends forever. Oh, golly gee, these guys are such good friends. At this point, this movie's almost over, so I've pretty much checked out at this point. So you won't believe how Timmy is able to escape his trap. No, seriously, you will not fucking believe it. So, do you remember that key that Justin gave Timmy at the beginning of the film? Of course not, because why the fuck is he giving him a key? Anyway, he tries to open the cage, but then just ends up smashing it.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. Oh. Not bad.
Quick question. Where's the stone? Yeah, remember the stone? The magical artifact that Jonathan meant to give his wife? The stone that she gave to Justin for safekeeping? The stone that has power when courage is there? That stone?
You can unlock any door if you only have the key.
Why didn't Timmy just get the stone instead of some random fucking key? Yeah, I said it was a weird Deus Ex Machina at the end of the last movie and I didn't really like it all that much, but bringing it back would have still made sense. Jonathan got it for his wife. It would have made sense for his son to inherit it, don't you think? Also, you could have used this film to maybe try and explain its origins, or maybe magic in general. And yeah, speaking of which, anybody else notice that there's no magic in this movie at all? Like, what's up with that? I mean, for me personally, it's not a big loss, as it really wasn't all that important in the first movie, but the fact that it's missing here is quite strange, honestly. I mean, why not give Jenny magical abilities or something? Maybe that could tie into Nimh somehow, thus sparking more conversation as to whether it actually was magic or perhaps the science from Nimh. That would be a really cool way to subtly add to the conversation without actually giving us a direct answer. But no, again, these people didn't even watch the original movie, did they? The stone just no longer exists, I guess, because... fuck it, whatever. The movie's almost over. So Timmy is able to rescue the rats from some cats who were in the movie but only got like 5 minutes of screen time, so they honestly don't even matter at this point. Tim is able to defeat Martin and destroy Nimh by blowing it up. They return to Thorn Valley where everybody is waiting for them. Timmy and Ginny are in love, I guess, and Martin recovers from being insane because that's how insanity works.
You single-handedly saved Thorn Valley.
Martin is correct, Timothy. The prophecy of Nicodemus came true. You have indeed fulfilled your destiny.
Oh, you mean the prophecy that was the very reason why Martin ran away from home, thus allowing him to be captured by Nimh, which when Timmy heard about it, suddenly left to go and stop Nimh in the first place? So basically the only reason the prophecy actually came true is because you all brought up a prophecy. Ugh, what else is there to say about the Secret of Nimh 2, Timmy to the Rescue? It's an utter embarrassment. This is a film that goes out of its way to disrespect what made the original so dear and amazing. It believes the original was too dark, so it retconned things to make it more kid-friendly. It believed the original was too smart, so it dumbed just about everything down to a point where every character was either too caught up their own ass to see the sunshine, or too stupid to realize what was going on half the time. The animation is mediocre at best, but the story and writing is just abysmal. They clearly didn't fucking care. They just saw Disney releasing all their direct-to-video sequels, so they thought they could just cash in on that trend, and all they ended up doing was pissing people off. Yeah, you probably know this already, but yeah, fuck this movie. Fuck it hard in the ass. It sucks. God, I haven't been this disappointed in a follow-up to a beloved kids franchise since that Hey Arnold movie that came out a few years back. That's right, you know what's coming next.
Without giving a warning, I'ma leave without giving a. But every time we say goodbye, we all know that it's a lie. Now I'm